Yo, what's up guys? Sam here. Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are doing well, and I just wanted to wrap up by saying that you should go ahead and buy the new MacBook Pro because it's just that good. Alright, if you enjoyed, drop a like, hit subscribe. You can't dislike the videos anymore because they removed that number. So basically this video and this MacBook Pro are essentially perfect. Now some of you, that might have been enough for. You might be like, alright, that was good. I would buy it. That was a really convincing call to action, as they say. But I am serious. Like, you should buy the new MacBook Pro. And usually for products, and usually on YouTube, there are a million videos about
buy this, not that. Buy that, not this. Don't buy the new Apple product. Don't feel like you have to. It's not that good. You know, it's not even better than the last version that much.
And honestly, most of the time that's pretty fair, and I'd agree. Like the iPhone 13 Pro from the iPhone 12 Pro, it was worth it for me, but I don't think it's worth it for everybody, or maybe even most people, even like the Apple Watch especially. Like the Series 7 is not that much better than the Series 6 or even the Series 5 before it. But these new MacBook Pros with M1 Pro and M1 Max inside, they are, and you should buy them, because even if you had a spec'd out 2019 16-inch or 2020 M1 MacBook Pro or any MacBook that's 10 or 20 years old, I still think it's worth it. I mean, really looking at this year's MacBook Pros, there's different vibes on so many levels, from Apple's return to a Pro design that is thicker and heavier, to Apple admitting and fixing all of their mistakes, and to upgrades around the entire chassis and screen and keyboard that just feel right. I mean, I could start with the screen here, which is mini LED and 120 Hertz now, and tell you how wonderful and beautiful it is, and how it's got these crazy black levels, and how it gets even brighter than the last generation MacBook Pros, significantly brighter actually. Of course, I also have to mention that there's a notch on here, which is great actually. I love the notch. And to be clear, I'm not saying that you have to love the notch. It's just that I love the notch, because in full screen it disappears, which is how I use my MacBook Pro for serious work anyway. More so, it's that I like the distinctive design element, that it sets the ground for Face ID to come on the next generation model, and also that it makes the thinner bezels on here possible. It's just such a great design choice. I am a huge fan. Or maybe I should start sharing my thoughts about the new M1 Pro and M1 Max chips inside. I have had a lot of experience with the most powerful M1 Max chip with a 10-core CPU and 32-core GPU. I've got 64 gigabytes of RAM in here, a 4TB SSD in the 16-inch silver model. The performance is off the charts, it's super efficient, but most important to me, coming from an Intel computer as my daily driver, this computer is just responsive and quick and snappy, and that's something I haven't been able to say about Intel Macs ever in a long time, maybe since I've been a little wee child. It just feels like the Mac always should have felt, and this is going to be the case as far as responsiveness goes, whether you get the cheapest M1 Pro bin chip or the most expensive Max or even the standard Pro chip. In fact, the only time I've been able to slow this computer down is sometimes in the timeline when I'm editing a video in Final Cut Pro, but that's it, and it disappears in like a second, and I've never heard the fans turn on at all, no matter what I've done with this computer. I just don't know how there's this much power and a machine that runs this cool. It's such a breath of fresh air from Intel, and I'm so happy that Apple went in this direction. I never doubted them, to be clear. I'm just really happy that we're seeing the true realization of their vision this soon, only a year into their transition away. This MacBook Pro also helps me get a lot done, which is why I partnered up with Setup, who sponsored today's video. Setup changes the way that we interact with software, bringing even more simplicity and productivity into our lives every day. Setup helps you self-task, for which you would normally have to look up and install a separate app, so let me show you how it works. So let's say that I want to make my speakers on my MacBook Pro even louder. I would just go over to Setup and type in speaker, and instantly this app called Boom pops up. What is normally a flagship paid app installs in just one click, and I can start using it instantly. Let me show you how cool this is. So this is a song without Boom on. You know, it's pretty loud, and then you can make it fill up this entire room with Setup. Sorry if I sound confused. Yeah, I'm confused because I don't understand how this magic works. So my task has been solved, and I don't have multiple trial periods or credit card numbers entered across multiple sites just for an app that I'm only going to use every once in a while. By using multiple apps, I have the ability to revamp my workflow, as these apps contribute to my common goal like productivity or task management. And with more and more premium apps and features being added on a regular basis, Setup can really help you always to be at the top of your productivity game. So think tasks, not apps, with Setup, and you can get a free trial for 7 days when you use my link down below. Now maybe we should should start with the keyboard, which is a lot different this year. Not only is it all black, which I love and makes this look really sleek, it's still illuminated. You've got an updated Touch ID button that is circular now instead of that weird little square that we used to have. And most importantly, the function row is back. And by that, I mean the touch bar is gone. A device that I tried to love so hard, but it just kept hurting me. And I had to say, no, touch bar, we've got to go away. I've got to end this relationship. I'm just happy Apple realized this and didn't try to keep pushing something that people that actually did pro work didn't use. And it's nice for Apple to say, hey, we were wrong. That's okay. We can also give you a great computer that isn't what we thought was right 5 years ago. Maybe we should start with the port selection on here, which is unlike anything I thought I would see from Apple post 2016. There are still 3 of the 4 USB-C ports that cemented the new MacBook Pro design 5 years ago, but now there's MagSafe and they're Thunderbolt 4 now instead of Thunderbolt 3. And you've got an HDMI port and an SD card reader, which have made my job so great. I haven't used the HDMI a ton, to be fair, but I've used the SD card reader every day, and it's so phenomenal. I could also start with the battery on here, of which has been really good on the 16-inch. When I had a 14-inch, it was not as great as I wanted it to be. Not bad, just not as great as I wanted it to be, and that's something that pushed me up to the 16-inch, is that it's just insane. It's maybe 8 to 12 hours of usage, which for this much power is unparalleled. It's unbeatable. You know, I could actually start anywhere on this MacBook Pro with the design, with the screen, with the notch, with the keyboard, with the processor, with the battery. It doesn't matter where you start, because at the end of the day, those upgrades individually would be a massive change year over year, but we got all of these at once at the same time. And that's why I think you should buy this MacBook Pro. I haven't made a video about this for, I don't think, any Apple product ever, where I straight up was like, no, you can buy this, and anyone who buys any of these computers, you will not be disappointed. I promise you that. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that this is the computer I now recommend for most people. No, not at all. If you're just somebody who's going to college, or you want a laptop at home to browse the web and check emails on, I'd recommend the M1 MacBook Air. You can get a really good deal on it, like sub $1,000 deal. Yeah, right now, I would say the M1 MacBook Air is the best value in computers in the world. So definitely get that if you want the cheaper, you know, more valuable, friendly, budget consumer option. No, this isn't a consumer laptop anymore. This is the MacBook Pro. This is for people who saw the M1 and said, it's close but not there. We are here with the M1 Max. And of course, I'm looking forward to even more power for my workflow in the future. But the moral of the story is this: you should buy this MacBook Pro because it's everything we've wanted for the past 5 years, and it is out now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. This is so cool. This is such a big day for Apple, and it's cool to be a part of reporting on them at this time. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.